My name is Amy Evans, and my project proposal is on an internship program for the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office, which is where I work. So this is the cover letter. I am pleased to present this project proposal for the enhancement of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office internship program. This initiative aims to foster a mutually beneficial relationship between criminal justice students and law enforcement, thereby enriching the educational experience while supporting the agency's recruitment efforts. We believe that by implementing the proposed updates and initiatives, we can create a robust internship framework that attracts talented individuals and prepares them for the future career in law enforcement, while bridging the gap between the youth and law enforcement. So we already have a program in place for college students. So we're trying to sort of piggyback off of that and create a high school internship program. It may not necessarily be as long as our college program, which is usually a semester during the summer, but giving them a couple weeks to see, different areas of the agency, what they do, and things like that. This proposal outlines the importance of the program, focusing on recruitment training, supervision, and evaluation of interns by establishing clear guidelines, improving the application process, and fostering communications with supervisors. We aim to create a comprehensive and effective internship experience that benefits the students and the agency alike. By bridging this gap, it'll help bring in more people when it's time for positions and things like that we have open. It may end up, having someone interested in law enforcement and wanting to become a deputy. It can have them interested in the jail and becoming a corrections deputy. We want to bridge that gap so that there's not that feeling of the police are bad and things like that. They're not. We just want to bridge it so that the students and the younger people will feel more comfortable with law enforcement. Scope: create an internship policies and application processes, implement a structured orientation program for interns, develop evaluation and feedback mechanisms for supervisors and interns. Deliverables that we can do is finalize the internship policy documents, orientation materials and training sessions for when they come in. We'll give them a brief little orientation about what they'll be seeing throughout their internship and things like that. Internship applications and forms, we will prepare those. There are things that the interns have to do because there are things that they will be seeing during the time that they're here. We need to make sure that they have the clearance to listen to 911 calls, that they have the clearance to see reports and things that deputies fill out on people and things. We have to make sure that we do a thorough background so that we know that if they have a criminal record, what that criminal record could be. We have to get them fingerprinted to make sure that they don't that they're allowed to have access to the agency and they can walk around unescorted. So there's a lot involved in making sure that they are cleared to come in the agency. So some of our SMART goals is be specific. So we want to revise the internship application process to include an electronic submission system by December 1st. So this is creating in our application that we use for employment, this will create a application that we can use specifically for interns, so that we don't have to worry about paper. It gets to us faster. It's easier for them, the applicant, to make updates if needed, things like that. Increase the number of internship applications by 25% within the next semester. With that, we plan on hitting more high schools to let them know about the program. Our Facebook, putting it out on there, social media, TikTok, things like that, where the kids will see it. Conduct orientation for 100% of the interns by the start of their internship. So their first day that they're there for internship is when they will get their ID cards, when they'll get the information about the program for whatever time frame they're going to do their internship for. It will be a time for them to ask any questions, figure out schedules and things like that. Align internship activities with the agency's strategic goals for community engagement and recruitment. Implement the new internship program updates by the beginning of the next academic semester. So we want to make sure that we have everything, if we can, everything in place and ready to go so that all of the bugs and kinks are worked out and we can just roll it out, get feedback. We'll already have had that, so we'll know what we need to fix before we bring in a full group. So we're going to do a small little pilot program, and then we will bring in a larger group once we make sure that we have everything in place. Some of our expected benefits for the students is enhancing their learning opportunities and practical experience in law enforcement. So they'll get an actual view, not just scenarios. They'll get to actually see what happens day to day in an agency. For us, it's a pipeline for potential future hires. This is a way for the public to see how we work and how we function, and there might be a position that they're interested in. It may not be that they're interested in a law enforcement position. Some people are not meant to be law enforcement. That's something I've come to see. I currently work in HR. I have for 4 years. I'm on my 4th year. I'm working towards my 5th year. There's some people that just aren't cut out for it. It's just not for them. They think it sounds cool. They've seen it on TV shows and stuff, and they're like, I want to do that. And then they get out there and they're like, I don't want to do that. So it's a way for them to see what all we offer, because we don't just offer law enforcement positions. We have civilian positions that are just as important as our sworn law enforcement position, because if they couldn't do their job without us. We have nurses, we have lunch staff, we have the 911 operators, we have records staff, we have HR, we have evidence, we have just fleet. We have tons of different positions for people that don't necessarily have to do with being a deputy. And improving the relationship between law enforcement and schools. We want to bridge that gap where there's not that stigma of police are bad. We are not bad. It's all in how you present yourself to a deputy and how a deputy presents himself to you. It's a group effort. It's not one person's fault. Everyone needs to work together on this. So human resources will have an intern coordinator and assistant coordinator. The coordinator will be like the main person, but then the assistant will help them if they're out or things like that. And then they'll get in contact with the different supervisors for the different mentorships that the interns will have. Training materials that we'll need to create our orientation guides. We have to do their CGIS training and evaluation forms for them and how they're doing. It's sort of to give them what it's like to have a job, because most of them haven't had a job. So it's a way to show them what it's like to be held accountable for things. And then the technology that we'll need is to access the applicant stack. So that's the application program that we use. And also Power DMS, which is where all of our policies are kept, but it's also a place where they can fill out surveys and things like that, so we can make improvements on the program. Costs. So most of it is really in-house. There's not a whole lot of costs behind it. Yes, we do have to use a little bit of our time throughout the day to complete it. So administrative costs for processing applications. Depending on how many we have, is depending on how long it takes. Training materials, that'll take a little longer, just because the students, we have to make sure that it makes sense to them, and that it's not too hard of a training for them to grasp. So we need to make sure that we have all the resources for orientation, everyone's available when it's time, for their portion of their internship time frame. Potential costs for background checks and fingerprinting. We do the fingerprinting in-house, and our background checks are done in-house. So it's really just scheduling a time for the employees that we have that do those things, that we are not hindering their full-time job and what they're doing, because we have to use them so that we aren't paying for it. So we need to make sure that we have a nice balance between what we're doing for the agency and what we're doing for the students, because the agency comes first, unfortunately. Their jobs are what keeps them in a job. So the benefits of this: we'll have a long-term recruitment savings by developing a talent pool. We'll already, have evaluations on these people. We'll have feedback on these people and from these people, from the supervisors that have worked with them. If they're on time, if they dress appropriately, things like that. We'll have that information already. And so if we need not a resource. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the word. Not a resource. Not a recruitment letter. I can't think of the word. Referral? No, that's not right either. We're going to improve the community relations by talking with the students and bringing them in. They will get the opportunity to see how we do things and get a understanding from the backside, so that whenever they do have an interaction with their friends and stuff like that in law enforcement, they can be an example, and they can be like, hey, maybe this isn't how it should be done. Maybe you should handle yourself this way, as far as talking to their friends and being like, being rude to the deputies is not going to get me where I need to go. So maybe just seeing it from the other side. And it'll enhance the agency's reputation as a supportive learning environment. We want the young people to learn and grow and respect law enforcement. And we want law enforcement to respect young people. So it's a benefit for both to get to work with each other. The project timeline. So we need to create some policies and put those in place. The start date for that would be November 1st, and the end date would be December 1st. We'll have 1 month to create the policy. For the most part, the policy is already in place because we have a college internship program, so we can just tweak it a little bit based on our needs for the high school students. The application process update, we'll have 2 weeks to update the application and make it appropriate for high school students. There's a lot of information that we get from adults for employment and things like that we don't need from them, because they're not going to have a bunch of different addresses, hopefully. They're not going to have, a bunch of different schools that they've been to. They haven't. So there's things like that. Orientation, we'll need to develop that. That's going to take a little bit longer. We need to make sure that we give them all the information, that we let them know of all the rules and all of the training that they're going to need to do beforehand to make sure that they are compliant with being able to come into the agency and see the things that they're going to see on with reports and things like that. And then July 15th through August 1st, they'll be working on evaluation and feedback from the students and also from supervisors and things, so that we can work out those kinks that we need. And if there's something that they would like to see that they didn't get to see, we can improve on that for the next group that comes in. This is the acceptance letter. I'm pleased to accept the proposal for the enhancement of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office internship program. We look forward to implementing the outlined strategies and achieving the proposed goals. And this is question time. This is a recording, so questions are a little bit difficult. But if you have any questions, you can email me. So thank you.